Introducing the principals. First in the red corner, wearing the Army fatigue trunks. He weighed in at an even 165 pounds. All the way from Climito, Rio Piedras, Puerto Rico. He is the IBC middleweight champion. He has 25 wins, 9 losses with 19 knockouts. Ladies and gentlemen, here is Daniel Popeye Garcia. And his opponent in the blue corner, wearing the black trunks with the gold trim. He tipped in at even 169 pounds. From Ann Arbor, Michigan, he has 37 wins, no losses, 2 draws, with 25 knockouts. He is the IBF Super Middleweight Champion. Ladies and gentlemen, here is James Lights Out Toney.
Won them each rather handily.
I don't see anything on the line here that says he won this IBC thing, whatever that might be. Where did this title come from, and how did he win that? That's fascinating to me. In any case, one of the many mysteries in boxing. You see the knockout ratio of the two gentlemen. Toney, a powerful puncher. So is Garcia, though. And right away, he's going with the left hook. And if you're going to hit James Toney with a power punch, better it should be the left hook for you than the right. He's hard to hit with the right hand.
My other thought is that if you're going to fight with James Toney, you're going to get knocked out.
Ultimately, he may not knock you out early, but mostly, yes, if you're going to stay there and exchange with him, because he throws good, quick combinations and lands a lot of punches against him.
And James Toney, just an excellent defensive fighter. We talked a little bit earlier about some of the angles that he can give you, and he's tough.
Yeah, that's one of his, and that's something he's gotten infinitely better at in the last year or two, last couple of years, since he's been a champion.
He wants to step up and fight Prince Charles Williams, and I think that'd be an excellent fight.
Well, actually, they want Williams to come down to 168,
right,
yeah,
right.
And then he would step up to light heavyweight.
Let him go, let him go, let him go, Daniel.
And Williams is interested in that. We talked to him just a few weeks ago.
See Garcia trying to get that left hook in. Strong jab by Toney.
Toney does have the kind of body that looks like it could handle up to light heavyweight.
Yeah, they're even talking cruiserweight, which may be a bit extreme, but light heavyweight. Well, he's practically a light heavyweight now, right. 168 or he had to lose a pound to get down to this weight. You can hit Toney. Look at the right hand missed by Garcia. He looks so available for those punches, especially the right hand, but it's just not there. When Iran Barkley fought him for the super middleweight title, Iran Barkley was in great shape, highly motivated, a little bad blood going on. He could not land a punch. It was just so hard for him to land against Toney.
Yeah, I think, you know, the old phrase that they use both in baseball and football, that you take what's given to you, can easily be used to describe what James Toney does. He makes the adjustment to what his opponent is doing. Coming to the end of the first round, and it's been a round in which Garcia has not been able to execute, and Toney has done basically whatever he's wanted to do in this round. End of one.
As the complete arsenal, there's an example, an uppercut that lifts the head of Danny Garcia on the inside.
That was right at the end of the first round. We start the second round now. First round, Toney getting a lot of work in.
And landing well, 38 out of 81. A lot of those were body shots. And when you see the numbers of punch profile, he's having trouble with his trunks, James Toney.
Much more so than he is with Garcia.
Yeah, I know, yeah. When you see the numbers of punch, Garcia puts his hand out, and Toney says, I don't think so. I don't want to shake hands with you. We're in here fighting, and I just would prefer not to. The point I was trying to make, and if they interrupt me one more time making this point, I swear I'm not going to talk the rest of the night. The numbers of punch profile show you body shots, and it's important to note because a fighter like Toney will land a lot of body shots.
Toney has just not let Garcia get on track, period. taken, interestingly enough, a very different course from Terry Norris. There's a good right hand by Toney. Terry Norris, since he's become the champion, since he beat Sugar Ray Leonard, has basically been invisible. Except when he fights.
Well, he's had some fight. I mean, he's had his fights.
I'm not saying he hasn't fought, but he's been invisible. And James Toney, on the other hand, is by his own admission. He says, I'm taking these fights because he knows there's 3 million people watching the show every week.
Yeah, I think I know what you're getting at. Toney has tried to stay a little bit more workmanlike and put himself out there in these non-title fights. And that's different than most guys.
Well, there is a school of thought that says Terry Norris missed an opportunity to really capitalize when he beat Sugar Ray Leonard.
I think basically that's true, but I think part of it was they thought they were fighting the kind of guys who would give them marquee value, the Melody Taylors and Donald Currys. It didn't quite work out that way. But Terry Norris is still in a pretty good position.
Yeah, I'm not criticizing Terry Norris.
Yeah, I know what you mean. Nice hook by Garcia, and that's the punch that he wants to land very badly.
A good idea not to leave it out there, though.
Yeah, as Toney showed by countering with the right hand. We talked about it last week, this middleweight muddle thing. They're all out there in the middleweight and super middleweight division, and boy, there's a lot of great matches. And James Toney wants to figure in there, but he's not going to wait for anybody.
Well, the fight that James Toney fought against Iran Barkley, and I've been around this sport for 20 or so years, that was almost as complete a performance as we start the 3rd round. James Toney comes to the center of the ring to meet Danny Garcia.
You can see how well James Toney has done, 48%. He's a very accurate puncher, and often is in the 40 to 50% range. Garcia and his people this morning very confident that they could hurt James Toney. They said if he lands a shot like we want him to land, a really good hook, we think he'll hurt Toney. Remains to be seen, but he is certainly laying it out there. Danny Garcia is making an effort with that hook. But the hand speed of Toney giving him some trouble.
Get him loose, James. Get him loose, James.
Garcia doing a lot of laying on Toney in this round. Can't be tired, though.
Combination punching for Toney that we talked about before. Toney does have a mandatory defense against Darren Van Horn that is set for September.
Left hand hurt Garcia.
Now Garcia not really making the fight, being aggressive. Maybe he wants to counter Toney a little bit or try.
I think that Darren Van Horn fight hanging over the head of James Toney like an anvil.
It's really not about anybody wants. It's true. Darren is not ranked #1, but just I don't think it's about that anyone thinks he can win against James Toney. And I don't think he even went to a purse bid. Don King got the purse bid, then he lost it. Now I think Bob Arum has it. It's a match that, like you say, is hanging there, has to happen. And then right after that, they'll do Williams, and they want to move up to light heavyweight. Garcia going after Toney, but it's so deceptive when you see this because, like we said, Toney slips and blocks a lot of those punches, as he did right there. And in truth, he looks like he's toying with Garcia right now.
Yeah, Toney has the look of a man who could get this guy out of here whenever he chooses. And I don't mean to say that he's carrying him. I just think he wants to work. Not a bad left hand there by Garcia. Garcia's probably all right as long as he doesn't make him mad. I remember that happening with Ray Leonard when he fought Bruce Finch. He told me he was going to let him go 7 rounds. And then Finch hurt him in the 2nd round, and he knocked him out about 20 seconds later. But a reminder that the Senior Golf Tour continues here on ESPN. The Northville, Long Island Gentlemen Classic at the Meadowbrook Club in Jericho, New York. The Battle of Jericho. George Archer, the defending champion. And here's a guy who saw an awful lot of George Archer. We're joined by Doug Sanders. Doug, you're having a little bit of a tournament here yourself.
Well, I'm going to, and maybe he might come up.
Those things are always great fun. More fun for the amateurs, I'm sure, than they are for the pros, to be honest with you.
Well, to be able to have these guys to do something other together and to get the great tips from them and to just have a lot of fun, this is really going to be something new that's never been done before.
I got to tell you, Doug, I've covered a lot of sports in my life. I had a chance to do a little bit of golf in the last couple of years. As a group of athletes, the nicest guys. And you, of course, absolutely no exception to that rule.
Well, I'm really looking forward to it. It's going to be a great day, and it's an easy number, 1-800-PRO-DOUG.
All right, that's the deal. And the tournament is the second week of September, the 5th through the 9th of September. That's when the tournament is, and it's right here. The inaugural Dream Golf Tournament. Doug, thanks for being with us.
Thank you. It's my pleasure.
Doug Sanders, the man who his shoes could not be copied, and neither could his swing.
Break.
One of my fond memories of Doug Sanders as a golfer. Al, the man had a pair of shoes to go with every pair of pants.
They both rumble.
He really was. And not a bad golfer. And he had that funny swing that if you looked at it in the golf books, you would say, no way.
James Toney landed 21 of 25 jabs in round 3, and that is almost uncharacteristic of him because he is not normally that accurate with the jab, even though he's got a good punch.
Quick right hand from Garcia there, but Garcia just not able to deter Toney at all. And that did it. The right hand started it, the left hand finished it.
Well, in truth, I think James Toney, when he got around to doing that, was going to do it.
Garcia trying to hold on. Still a long way to go in his 4th round.
Well, at 168, James Toney's got it all working, I'm telling you. And even if Danny Garcia isn't up to the task here tonight, and he apparently is not, it shows what Toney is capable of. Very low blow by Danny Garcia.
Extremely. Now, this is the kind of thing that makes a champion mad.
Yeah. Just what you were talking about.
Yes. They deducted a point, which is the last thing in the world Danny Garcia needs here.
I think James Toney really shook up by that low blow. And he may take a little breather here and then go right out in the 5th round and go after him again.
Toney's right on top of him once more. Good left hand drives him into the ropes. Can't be saved by the bell, remember. And another huge shot.
Wow, Garcia
wants to fight now.
No reason for Garcia to go after him after the bell. And the corner of Garcia trying very hard to keep calm. They didn't jump in there to try and make a problem. Give James Toney some credit for keeping his cool there.
And you saw the names of the corner. I will be shocked and amazed if this fight goes more than another round.
As will I. This is James Toney knocking Garcia down with the right hand. Excellent combination. Double left hook. That's what makes him a very polished fighter. He always finishes his combination. Look at those body shots. First one really hurt him. And ironically, even though the freight train right hand was a pretty good punch, it was the body shot that got Garcia down. Very skilled fighter, James Toney.
Frank Cappuccino going into both corners and really reading the riot act to Danny Garcia's corner, but he also was rather stern in Toney's corner, too. Toney basically said, what'd I do?
Well, he absorbed those punches at the end.
There's a right hand, and this one's not going to go far.